Hey guys, this is Sophia and today I'm going to be sharing with you my London trip. I'm actually going to be doing, as you can tell, a traditional voiceover, and that's only because the vlog itself is already pretty long, so I don't want to make it any longer. So please bear with me if the audio is a little bit off. But here you can see that landing in London Heathrow was a little bit bumpy, but it was still a pretty good flight anyway. Immediately after landing, we went to visit a small town called Salisbury, which you can see right here. It is a town very close to Stonehenge, so if you are visiting Stonehenge, I highly recommend you visit Salisbury as well. So of course, we had to go to Stonehenge, whether or not we were going to see anything else, and it was an amazing trip, an amazing sight. So to get to see the Stonehenge, you have to take a bus, which is complimentary with the tickets, and you can see right there coming back to take us there. You could have walked as well, but it was very windy that day, and that would have added an extra 20 minutes. But upon getting off the bus, you had a short hike before you went to see the Stonehenge, and you could actually see it pretty much up close. You obviously could not touch it though. So after we left, the jet lag had hit us, so we didn't do anything for the rest of that day. And so the following day, we actually went to the Warner Brothers studio tour of Harry Potter, and we spent a solid 4 or 5 hours there. It was about the making of Harry Potter, and there was a lot of great footage, but because I had so much footage, I really decided to make that into a separate video, a separate vlog. So definitely look out for it, because I am really excited to show you what the tour was like. That evening, we drove back into London, and the first stop the next day was to visit Buckingham Palace. We did all the tours. Here you can see a tour or video of the Royal Mews. And here I am walking into a royal carriage to get my photo taken. And of course we had to visit Buckingham Palace. No photos or videos were allowed, so here you're seeing the back view of the palace. And then after that, we took a short stroll into Hyde Park to see the sunset.
And his dear friend and colleague Dr. Watson. I must ask you, don't touch the items on display, but you can take photographs here. Here on the first floor, the room to my right is Sherlock's bedroom. Within it you'll find parts of his many disguises and a whole host of serial killers on his wall too. The room here is the study, it's the heart of 221B. We have Dr. Watson's desk here with his medical kit bag, Times newspaper from 1881, which was the year the pair first met and moved to the address. In the far corner is Sherlock's desk with his chemistry set for crime scene analysis, and of course his famous Stradivarius violin, which he would play to ease his mind through the most troublesome of cases. On the back wall are two letters VR, stand for Victoria Regina. Queen Victoria was the reigning monarch of the era, and without a case to occupy his mind, Holmes would turn to pistol practice in the living room, much to poor Mrs. Hudson's distress. On the mantelpiece here, a bust of Queen Victoria. To the left, a photograph of the famous Irene Adler, one of the few to ever outsmart the detective. In the two chairs here, Holmes would sit in this one with his back to the window, so in the daytime his own face would be cast in the shadows, but the daylight would fall upon his guests here, and he could study them carefully, their clothes, their facial expressions, giving him the upper hand in the situation. So thank you very much for listening to me about some of the items here in the study. Please now, if you'd care to join me for a moment through in Sherlock's room, and you may return to explore further. Welcome, sir. This is Sherlock's bedroom. So here in Sherlock's room, you have his travel case on the bed there. The black hat contained within is a clergyman's hat, part of one of his favourite disguises, but it didn't work against Miss Adler, who was quite the actor herself. There's a billy club in there, which was the nickname for a police baton. This would be used for protection and sometimes persuasion as well. On the mantelpiece there behind you, a Persian slipper where he would keep his pipe tobacco stuffed into the toe. One of several habits Watson found a little distasteful. Up on the wall here, these photographs, these aren't Sherlock's family, these are all genuine murderers and serial killers of the time. Holmes introduced these to Watson as my dear old friends. We have Dr. Thomas Neil Cream here, the Lambeth poisoner. He was also a suspect in the Jack the Ripper murders. Mary Ann Cotton, the Dark Angel, killed 21 people, mainly poisoning her own family for insurance money. For Holmes to get close to criminals such as these, he couldn't just wear a new hat for the occasion, he would have to change his face. To help him do so, he would use stage makeup, as we have here. Now, such the master of disguise was he would return home and Watson wouldn't recognise his best friend and colleague. Though this could tell us a little bit about Watson as well, maybe. So thank you very much for listening to me, and any questions about the displays, please do ask. And whenever you wish, you will find Watson's room above us here, Mrs. Hudson's at the front, and the Wax Museum on the top floor, where you can meet Professor Moriarty himself. Thank you.
As a big Sherlock Holmes fan, I of course had to visit the Sherlock Holmes Museum, which was a lot of fun, and I highly recommend it, especially if you're a fan of the Great Detective. After that, we went to Covent Garden to do some shopping. It was a beautiful mall. There was a lot of food there as well. It was obviously a little bit crowded, but it was well worth the trip. The next day, we actually went to the British Museum, but because there were so many people there, I did not get any footage of the museum itself. But that afternoon, we actually went to the London Eye, which was an amazing experience. If you're scared of heights, do not be scared of the London Eye, because as you can see, the way the cable cars are held onto the wheel is very stable, and it does not move around as traditional Ferris wheels do. So the entire time we were on the cable car, or in the cable car I should say, it was very stable, and only once did the wind flap us around a little bit, but even then it was a pretty stable flapping around. Here you can see me patiently waiting to get on the next cable car. We went at actually a really good time because it was sunset, or the sun was setting, and the views were absolutely stunning. So even though you can see in the background the Big Ben was doing some construction, we still got to see Westminster, or the Palace of Westminster, which is their House of Parliament. So it was honestly an amazing view, and you can see it right here. We really did go at a good time. So if you are looking to go to London Eye, I actually recommend you go during the sunset, because the views were stunning and you could see everything. So here is the view of the back side of the cable car. Obviously, a lot of people took advantage of the fact that you could see the front, which is the House of Parliament, the Big Ben, etc. But the back was also very, very beautiful in terms of architecture and skyscrapers. So you can tell I took a ton of footage of my time in the London Eye. It was actually one of the most beautiful days in London as well. The weather was really nice, the sun was quite warm, and it was just a good time. I definitely recommend visiting London the edge of fall, only because it's a little bit cool, and then sometimes it gets warm, and it's just a really nice in-between time. So after that, we took a walk down, or through the river really, just to see the Big Ben up close a little bit, and to see the House of Parliament up close a little bit as well. But the views were absolutely stunning. So the next day we went to the Tower of London, which was beautiful. It has a lot of historic backstory. So it was not only a palace for some kings, but it was also a prison at one time, and it was really interesting to see. We also went at a really beautiful day. It was quite warm that day, so it was a perfect day to walk around a little bit. I highly recommend that you visit the Tower one day, if you ever visit. But this is the view from inside the palace. You could see the Tower Bridge from inside, and I mean, it was just a nice time. There were a lot of stairs though. I will say that if you are dizzy easily, or you're scared of height easily, be careful. So obviously, being so close to the Tower Bridge, we obviously had to go to the Tower Bridge as well, and we did. It was a beautiful bridge. I kind of wish I spent more time there. By the time we got to the bridge, unfortunately, it was pretty close to our next event, which you will see in a second, but we couldn't really walk alongside the bridge in terms of at the top. You can see right here that there are 2 lines at the top, and it's actually a walkway where you can pay to walk on, but because of our next event we could not do that, unfortunately. So that was a little bit of a regret, but still, it was a beautiful bridge and I highly recommend you go check it out, especially if you're in London. It's beautiful. And honestly, we also went on a good day. Like I said, the weather was perfect for this kind of sightseeing. So then, on a whim, we actually walked down London Bridge as well. I don't know why my voice got so high, but it was honestly just kind of a regular bridge, nothing special. And then the thing we were most excited for was actually afternoon tea on City Cruises. So City Cruise is a cruise company where they take you down the River Thames, and while you are basically during a cruise, they provide you afternoon tea, which was honestly amazing. Not only was the weather perfect, the sun was shining, it was quite warm inside. The food was really good too. You can see it very soon that as the waiter put it down, just looking at that is making me hungry, although I will say I'm a little bit hungry while I'm doing this voiceover, so maybe that's why. But it was so good. And then this is the view up top. Honestly, that day was so perfect. I could not, and my family could not have asked for a better day in general. So this is a quick look at the University of Cambridge dormitories. It is a beautiful campus. So if you're ever in the area, I highly recommend it. So that's the end of my London trip. I hope you enjoyed this entire vlog. It was a very fun experience for me. I hope to see you for another video next time. It's actually going to be my London haul. So see you soon.